Almost every costume piece gets labeled before it leaves the shop for the dressing room. It is important that the wardrobe crew and actors know what clothes to put where. Many times a show has similar looking items for multiple actors, so it is important to be able to get the right pieces back to the right actors and to know what is missing quickly. Most costume pieces are labeled with a UVM Theatre Department label. When possible, the labels are placed at or near the center back of a garment. These labels are made in the shop using muslin fabric. Try to use smaller pieces if available, as larger pieces may be utilized for larger projects. Iron a small piece of muslin and place it flat on the table. Use the UVM Theatre label stamp along with the black ink pad. Press the stamp firmly into the ink pad, then position it near the edges of the muslin fabric and press it firmly onto the fabric. For the purposes of this project, you only need to make one label, but it is usually more efficient to make many at one time. Using the pinking shears, cut around the edges of the label. The pinking shears help prevent the fabric from fraying, especially when laundered. Before using the label, press it with the iron to set the ink. To position the label on your project, place the ruler on the center tick mark and measure 1¼ inches from the top edge of the fabric. Make a light cross mark with your pencil here. Place the center of the top edge of the label on this mark. Pin the label in place. Thread a needle with a single thread of silamide and tie a knot in one end. You will start sewing at one corner and work your way all the way around, ending where you began. Starting at the corner, push the needle from the back side of the label 1/8 inch from the edges. Pull the thread until the knot catches. It should be between the label and the outside fabric. Cross stitch along the edge of the label. Be sure to only go through one layer of fabric at a time, just like when you were cross stitching along the bottom of your project. When you reach the corner of your fabric, simply turn your work and continue cross-stitching along the bottom edge. Continue cross-stitching until you reach the corner at which you began. Take your last stitch in the label and then tie a knot. Make a circle with the thread. Wrap the thread around the needle twice. Pull the thread until the needle is snug against the fabric. Place your thumb on the thread loops to hold them in place. Pull the needle through until the knot is tight. Repeat a second time. Push your needle underneath the first layer of fabric and come back up 1/2 inch away. Use snips to clip your thread flush with the fabric. You've now completed the UVM label and are ready to move on to the twill tape label. The twill tape label is used to label small articles of clothing such as socks. Using the ruler, measure out 3 inches of 1/2 inch wide white twill tape. Mark with a pencil. Use the scissors to cut the 3 inches off from the roll. Turn up 1/2 inch on each short end. Use the iron to press this in place. Using the ruler, measure 1/2 inch down from the bottom edge of the first label. Place the twill tape label directly below. Pin in place. Using a single thread of silamide with a knot at the end, whip stitch along each of the short edges of the label. Begin the whip stitch by pushing the needle from the back side of the fold about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Pull until the knot catches. The knot should be between the twill tape label and the outer fabric. Continue with small whip stitches until you reach the end of the short side. When you reach the end of the short side, tie a knot. Make a circle with the thread, wrap the thread around the needle twice, pull the thread until the needle is snug against the fabric, place your thumb on the thread loops to hold it in place, pull the needle through until the knot is tight. Repeat a second time. Push the needle under the first layer of fabric and come up 1/2 inch away. Clip your thread flush with the fabric. Repeat along the other short side of the label and remove any pins. You have then completed the twill tape label. You have finished the labeling section of the project and are ready to move on to closures.